12 minutes before 9 o'clock, right? No, before 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh. Okay, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Morning is flying by. Hey, once in a while, we will have a book in front of us that is really profound. And sometimes they are children's books. And we have an example of that right now. It's a children's book, and it's truly profound. You know, I often will joke. I will say, like, when you think of the platypus, right? You think that must have been the day the angels were drunk. God must have said, you know what? You guys make an animal. All right, let's take the beak of a duck and the leg, you know, all those things about a platypus, right?
Yeah.
So I was, that's my joke anyway. It's a dad joke, okay? It didn't work. All right.
Good morning.
Our next guest has a beautiful children's book that teaches children and adults, really, a really simple, beautiful lesson that we should have all learned a long time ago, and that's to accept each other for who we are, that there is really nothing as normal, I guess. I guess maybe there is a definition of normal, but you know what I mean. On the phone is Gwendolyn Javor. I hope I'm saying her name right. She was born and raised in, is that right, Budapest, Robin?
Yes.
She
Hungary.
In Hungary, yes. She works on humanitarian projects focused on promoting love and acceptance of individuality. Her book is wonderful and clever. It's titled Absurdimals. Lola Goes to School. And I'm going to let Gwendolyn tell you about the story. Gwendolyn, first of all, let me congratulate you for such a great, amazing idea. And second of all, good morning. Thank you for being on our show.
Hi, good morning, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the compliment.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York.
From New York. You don't have any Hungarian accent at all.
I know, and I'm reminded by that every time I go home.
What age did you move here?
When I was 18.
18. Wow. Well, good job for you to be able to speak English without the accent. But I love the accent. Not that there's anything wrong with it, by the way.
Well, it was my first language, English, so that helped definitely.
Oh, is that right? So is that part of where the idea came from, is to have an accent, or was there something that you observed in your life that you just found was unfair, that people would somehow judge others for being different?
No, I mean, that wasn't my personal experience. The idea itself actually did originate in Hungary because these characters were based off of paintings that I did while I was in high school. But my underlying motivation for it, from a very early age, I suffered from depression, and it just kind of imbued in me this very deep sense of empathy for others, and I always was kind of drawn to people who I could see that they didn't quite value themselves, they didn't see their own self-worth, and from a young age that's always been something that I've kind of been always the person that people come to when they have an issue, and I guess it just took off and evolved into this as I got older.
Yeah.
Is Lola you?
I guess maybe there are some similarities there. Yeah, I wanted the first character to be a strong female character, so maybe that could be.
You know, and Lola Goes to School is I guess the subtitle of the book, and I think sometimes that's where it hits us first as human beings, is in school, or because all of a sudden we're put into a group of other people who are our age. And then everybody doesn't look the same. We're different colors. We're different sizes. We may have different languages, even, or different accents, and or maybe other differences. And that's when we start pointing them out, and unfortunately, make fun of them.
Absolutely, that's our first real interaction with other human beings, and I definitely think that. Part of our own upbringing before that will have an effect on how we interact with other people. But children are really, I think, innately such good beings. I think all of us are.
Yeah.
And so I think regardless of whatever, you've been brought up with, being told is good or bad, I think there is absolutely an opportunity to instill in children this idea that there is really no such thing as too different. It's really just a matter of maybe something that you're unfamiliar with,
right,
and not quite used to yet. But again, all these things that we're surrounded with today at some point probably seemed absurd, and we've only come to accept them because we've learned to understand them more. So that's really the message that I want to impart.
Very smart.
I like the fact that you have Lola having the courage to go to an adult, even though she's brand new in the school and everything, that she has the courage to go to an adult and express herself.
Yeah, and that's really, really important, I think, for kids to feel that they can be supported. I think maybe as adults we don't often give children the credit that they really deserve, but that's another thing that's really important to me, and I've noticed it when I'm reading to these kids. I mean, they're so intelligent. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, that some of the children wouldn't be able to quite grasp the concept behind the book, but they totally get it. They're so smart, and we need to give them that credit and listen to their ideas and their thoughts and take them seriously.
And I do like the ending. I don't want to give that away, but I was really happy with that, because you leave the reader thinking, what's Lola going to do? And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, so part of the ending, I won't give it away totally either, but Lola does inspire some of these, quote-unquote normal animals to come out with their own absurdities, I guess you could call them, and the book ends on the note where it lets you know that there will be more books in the series, because this is a series. So the next book will be out the end of this year, or beginning early of next year, and that'll be featuring the dog duck, but you'll still see the same characters, and that underlying message will always be there about accepting yourself for who you are.
It is so amazing that something so small is so profound. It's almost like a song, It's and the music, I guess, in this case would be the illustrations. So you've collaborated with an illustrator, and what is her name? Is it Melissa? Am I looking at it? Melissa Spears?
Yes, Melissa Spears. That's correct. She was wonderful. So I self-published this book, and Melissa really was incredible. I just put out an ad online and had a few people reach out to me. I ended up picking her, and I gave her, honestly, about a month to do all these illustrations. So, I mean, they're wonderful as they are anyways, but even considering that, I mean, she really was just incredible.
Yeah. The ironic thing about this topic is that sometimes when you hear people who have made great contributions to the world, when you hear their story, they'll say, when I started out in life, I was picked on, I was bullied, and you think, oh my gosh, there's something crazy that turns people around. Not that I'm saying it's a good thing, but for those kids who do feel that they are being picked on, for those kids who do feel like they're being the target, I doubt that they're listening, but if you are, some great people have really had that same experience.
Yeah, I think, that's the thing. We all have our own experiences, and on the surface, they might seem like they're very different, but fundamentally, they're all the same. They come from the same place. We all share the same emotions. We've all experienced feeling kind of lonely or isolated, and I think if we can focus more on that and put aside the superficial differences, then maybe we can learn to be a little bit more accepting of ourselves and others, and maybe we can make the world a better place someday.
And I like the fact you have a dialogue in there. It's not just a narrative. Each of the characters have their own unique personality.
Yeah, and those personalities will be expanded upon a lot more in the next book. So.
Oh, you've got a whole career ahead of you. This is going to be your thing. Did you ever see the movie, or do you know the story of the Elephant Man? And I'm not saying that because Lola has got an elephant face, but do you know the story of the Elephant Man by chance? John Merrick?
Yeah, I do.
I think Mel Brooks made the movie, right? So
yeah.
But in the movie, he looks different, really different, and so one of the guys decides to send some girls up to his room, and he was so excited that somebody actually wanted to be with him. And then, of course, they start laughing at him, and it's exactly the opposite of what he was hoping the experience would be. He was hoping he made some friends finally in his life, and again, he was faced with that same thing that your book is pointing out, and what a horrible way to treat another human being. And I think you're going to make a huge difference, I think, in young people's lives, and probably some adults who see themselves in these characters.
Oh, well, I mean, I hope that anybody who reads it can take something out of it, and of course that would be my dream if it really makes some kind of significant difference for any person. But yeah, I mean, again, like you said, these are not these are not really complicated messages, but sometimes the most simple messages are actually the most difficult to really fully take to heart and realize the simple but profound importance that they have.
And the older siblings can read this book to their younger siblings who are just learning to read. I think that's the best part.
Yeah, definitely. And, I've been surprised because initially this book in particular, I thought it'd be more suitable for very early readers, so like kind of 3 to 6. But as I've been going out to various schools and events, even the older children, they're probably not so interested in the book itself, but the concept, the characters, they seem to be really interested in. They've been like telling me their own ideas for future stories. They send me pictures of their own characters, so it's been really cool.
The message of acceptance is so important, and if we have children who understand that you can be happy with who you are, what you are, everything that God made you, just accept that and grow with that. I love the message. So how do we get the book?
So the book is available on Amazon. If you go onto Amazon and you type in Absurdimals, ABSURDIMALS, it'll come up. It's available both by ebook or hard copy. And if you happen to be in New York and East Hampton, it's available at Bookhampton, and it's also available at Ward Bookstore in New Jersey City.
And it is getting really good reviews. 21 customer reviews on Amazon and 5 stars across the board. How about that? Not bad. Thank you for being on the air with us, Gwendolyn, and good luck with everything. Come back with the next one.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
That was really good. We'll be right back.
Attention WOCA listeners. Do you or someone you know have an outgoing personality with great organizational skills? Well, WOCA is